Okay, today on the Embroidery to You channel, we're going to do some applique numbers. This is the high-end type of numbers for athletic uniforms and teams. So we're going to do the rip away technique. And we're going to use this stuff from Stahls. And there's a bunch of different materials that you can use with the rip away technique. We're just going to use one of them, of course, this time. Got the number 24, and we're going to get that started right now. Let's get it going. First thing we're going to talk about is the placement of the applique. And I'm going to do a place stitch for the number. That's the first thing I'm going to do. But on this machine, you could actually get away with probably laying a piece down and then using your laser and making sure the piece is covered in the whole laser, making it sure it fits that way. I like to do the placement stitch, and that's the one that I'm using in this case here. So it's doing a little placement stitch so we know exactly where to stick our rip away applique material. So right now we're doing the letter 2, and then we'll do the letter number 4. Now, if yours doesn't have a laser, like our machine does, showing you the placement or the area where you're going to be stitching, of course, most other or older SWF machines will able to draw a rectangular around the area on a trace. So you always want to do a trace anyway on anything you're doing. So make sure you do the trace, and then you can place your material in there, make sure that it all, do the trace, make sure it all fits in there, and you should be okay. And it saves you a little time, because this does take a little time. It's about, I think, 2,000 to 3,000 stitches to do this portion of it. So right now I'm doing the 4, and if I wanted to, I could probably just get away with just doing the outside like that, and I'd be ready to go, and you wouldn't have to do this extra that's being embroidered right now. So as we do this placement stitch, we'll be right back in just a little bit and show you a little bit more. Okay, we've laid in our material, and now we're embroidering our numbers. So this is applique numbers for teams. And it is a little more expensive doing it this way. That means you're not just cutting it on your cutter and pressing it on and peeling it off. This is a lot of stitches. But you're also using the applique. So this is embroidery applique. And with big numbers. And those big numbers will look great with the rip away technique. Now we're going to talk about in just a little while the rip away materials that you can use to do numbers. And some of these work great. Most of them do. I haven't tried all of them, but I've tried a decent amount of them. One of the great ones to use is the thermofilm. Now in this case we're using the flock material, but the thermofilm works really nice too. So thermofilm, flock, and let me get a list of the others, and we'll be right back. Okay, I was talking to you about rip away materials from Stahl. Now this is some material that I've had around for a little while. And this was the original flock. It was like flock 1. Well, they come out now with a flock 2, and now they have a soft flock. So I've just got the flock 2 in a while ago, and now I've got the soft flock in, so we'll be trying those out to see how they work also. So as you can see, this is working great with the satin border, and then this is going to rip away, and I'll show you that at the end. But the items that you could use and the way the materials are. And you've seen my video before doing the glitter flake, and glitter flake works great as a rip away application. And that I have tons of colors in the glitter flake, and it just pops so great for different designs. So you can watch my video on doing the embroidery with the glitter flake, and that would be applique also. So that's another one. But right now we're trying to show you we can do numbers using rip away technique. which is a little bit more expensive, like I told you, than just cutting the number out and pressing it on, but it looks fabulous. So that's the key. Costs more, looks great, holds up great. Another item that we talked about before was the thermal film. Fantastic for uniforms. Basic colors, works great. Great for athletic uniforms. And that's the one I recommend mostly if you just want the basic color. You know, like a black or red or blue. That thermal film works great. Then you got the flock too, like we just talked about. And that definitely rips away. There's some patterns that you can get that rip away, and there's the reflective too that'll rip away. Now we got one item that's being discontinued, and that's the fashion film. That is a rip away also. Now, I haven't tried the fashion film to rip away, but I heard it's a good rip away item also too. So if you want to try these things, get small quantities first of all, and try them, make sure you're happy with them, and then buy your larger quantities. That way you know for sure, hey, I like this. Because if you buy a whole bunch of it, I mean, you can use it for just on your cutter. But if you got a job coming in, you want to make sure that you're happy and satisfied with the quality and how it holds up. So this, I know the flop works out really nice. And you'll see that in a little bit. There's a lot of stitches here. So it takes about 20 minutes or a little more than 20 minutes just to embroider the satin edge, to cut this cloth so it will rip away. So we'll be back in just a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more about embroidering numbers on shirts using applique. Coming back in just a little bit on the Embroidery 2 channel. Okay, we're finishing up our digits. 24 for the back of a team jersey. In this case, it's a team t-shirt. So we're finishing up about 15,000 stitches. That takes me about a 700 to 750 speed, about 20 minutes. So it does take a bunch of time to do this. High quality embroidery applique. Very cool for numbers. So try it out. You'll see that you love it, and I'm sure you'll be buying more and more material from Stahl and using this rip away technique for your applique material. So this is a product, and this is a item that most sports teams will want if they see it. Touch it, feel it. 2 colors instead of 1 color. Looks great, feels great, very high quality. So you want to try it yourself. Get some rip away material. Get it on your embroidery machine. Do embroidery applique. And this is about done. And then we're going to rip this away, and we're going to take a look at it. And remember, we've got to take it over to the heat press and adhere the flock to the t-shirt material. And that will take additional time. Well, that's why this takes a while to do this. So we're about done, and we're going to rip this away. That's it. And there we are. Let's rip this stuff away. See how simple it is? Let's watch. Get to that edge. Wow, you can hear that rip. Stuff just rips away very easily. Very easily. Everywhere you don't want the flock, just rip it away. It's going to come out right next to the satin stitch. As you can see, it just rips right away. And when we get to the inside of the 4, we'll have to get something to get that started, and then we'll rip the inside of that. We'll take little pieces off next, and we'll take a look at the finished product. Very easy to rip away. Rip away is the way to go. fabulous looking numbers. Let's take a look at it just on the table. Okay, there it is. It looks great. All we have to do is take it over to the heat press and press it on. And remember, each different type of rip away material you use has to be pressed on at a certain temperature. So look at those on the Stahl's website. They'll give you all the information on how long to press the different types of material, and that's what you want to do, is press this next to adhere the flock in this case to the shirt material. And I'm not going to show you that because you can see that on a lot of my videos, and it's very simple. You can go to Stahl's and they'll show you that. It's very simple, but make sure you're pressing it at the right temperature for the amount of time that they specify. So do that and you'll have a beautiful number for the sports teams that will last for a long time. So longer than they'll probably even wear the shirt. So this is what you want to do. Use rip away techniques to make great numbers for sports teams. And that was what we did today. Putting numbers on jerseys using embroidery and the rip away technique. Hope you enjoyed our video. One other thing to mention to you, remember the density of the satin stitch. You know, it has to be a pretty dense stitch. Doesn't have to be super dense, but remember, if you don't like the density, increase the density. So, you know, I had mine, I think it's about 75 in the way of the Wilcom. So check out the density yourself. The denser the stitches are, which takes more time, it's more stitches, the longer it's going to take, but the better it's going to look. So think of that when you're doing the outside satin stitch, and it will rip away easier also. So remember those things. A little more tips that I'm giving you, but next time remember, you've got to subscribe. If you aren't subscribed yet, you've got to subscribe to the Embroidery 2 channel. Have a great day.